You booked it, episode 203. What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining me today on You Booked It, the #1 podcast where you learn how to create a successful entertainment career. Have you joined the You Booked It community yet? It is your go-to entertainment career resource. Inside, you'll have direct access to Broadway performers, Emmy nominees, and people just like yourself navigating this industry. Learn from those walking the walk. Build industry relationships, access unlimited masterclasses, and learn how to book the job more consistently. Join free today. Tap the link in the show notes or go to youbookeditpodcast.com/invite to get inside. And now, let's meet today's guest. Okay, let's kick today's episode off. I have Howie Zales. Are you ready for this, Howie?
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Howie is an Emmy Award-winning camera operator who turned his passion for television broadcasting into several entrepreneurial endeavors. Howie created HJZ Productions, Inc. in 2000 to address the need for professional-level sports crew and staffing in the New York market. Under his leadership, HJZ Productions grew to a multi-million nationwide provider of top talent in the broadcasting field. In 2019, Howie and his team founded Veridity Entertainment Services, Inc., VES, which initially focused on staffing in non-union markets. With the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in early 2020, they quickly pivoted to offering best-in-class broadcast quality live streams and professional sports shows and events. Howie, that is a very quick and concise intro of who you are and what you've done, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, fill in the gaps, and a little bit more about what you do as a professional in the entertainment industry?
Sure. First of all, I'm honored and grateful to be here, and thank you very much.
Yes.
I live with my wife and family about 20 minutes north of New York City in a great neighborhood, and we love boating and in the summer, in our 2 months of summer, and some say it's crazy to have a boat, but it's a blast. And right now, currently, entertainment world, we produce best-in-class live stream productions, whether it be cooking shows, award shows, talk shows, demonstrations, you name it, we've done it. And that's where we are today.
Very cool. And how have you found this transition to the live stream world?
Last year, about this time, I had never even touched or said the word live stream. It took a lot of intense study, learning a lot, talking to a lot of the right people, watching a lot of videos on how it's done. But we put together what we think is a great workflow, and we tested it out this way, that way, and we came up with a way to do it that we think works great.
Oh, brilliant. I'm looking forward to getting into that a little bit more through the interview. But for now, let's move into this first section here. And Howie, look, I am a sucker for a good quote. What is your favorite quote you'd like to share with everyone?
Sure. Family always comes first.
Love that. And can you reflect a little bit and talk on that, on how that has really worked its way into your career, into your businesses as being an entrepreneur?
Sure. I started out as a camera operator for NBC and the World Wrestling Entertainment. And in the States, you are, as a camera person and a replay person and an audio person in the television and probably most of the film field as well, you're a freelancer. You only get paid when you work. And it's not a full-time job. There's no health benefits or anything like that unless you're associated with a union. So the mindset is, I got to take every job that's offered to me.
Yeah.
Because you don't get paid if you don't work. But you have to have the mindset that family comes first, because what is all this work and all this money if you don't have your family to share it with because you're too busy working? So I found that family comes first. Sometimes you just have to say no.
Yeah, agreed. I'm so glad you brought that up because that's very parallel to the performers and the entertainers out there as well. There's so much of our industry is that freelance lifestyle versus being on a show. Most people don't in this industry tend not to just be on long running shows, right? Even in the tech world on the other side of the table, right? Like you said, it's about finding that balance. And there definitely is that pressure sometimes to keep saying yes, especially if a big job comes through and it's like, oh gosh. And you just can, sometimes you get on a roll and you snowball things into each other, which is really great. But knowing your limits is certainly something that we have to learn that lesson. We have to take it a step too far, I think, at least once and go, okay, let's reanalyze. This is, like you said, what is all this for if I can't have family, if I can't enjoy life a little bit?
Exactly.
Very cool. Let's dig into this next section here. And Howie, of course, you are an entertainment professional. I'm an entertainment professional. And I think that you'd agree that this industry can be one of the most subjective, brutally honest, and personally emotional industries in existence. And you know as well as I that in order to create and have a successful career in this industry like you're having now takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And while there's an outrageous amount of excitement at times doing what we do, there are also our fair share of obstacles, challenges, and failures we are going to experience and we're going to have to move forward through. So tell us, what is one key challenge, obstacle, or failure you've experienced in your career, and how did you come out the other side better because of it?
I'll give you two.
Yes.
When I first started out, I was working at a news station, and I called ESPN to let them know that I was Howie Zales, new camera operator in the world, ready to do live sports. And when I got the person that did the hiring on the phone, she said, "What's your experience?" And I said, "I shoot news. I haven't really done much sports, but I know I'll be good and willing to start." And she said, "Call me back in 5 years." And I said, "You know what? I marked my calendar for 5 years to the day. And I knew I was going to show this woman that I was going to get it done and I would be ready to get hired."
Wow.
I called her back 5 years from that day and said, I told her who I was. I told her the story that I just told you. And she couldn't believe that I actually called her back.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
did you book the gig?
Yeah. I worked for them a few times, but most of my work was throughout my career at NBC and WWE.
Oh, I love that. The perseverance pays off, hey?
Yeah, and I guess the other one was I for a period of my life I lived in upstate New York where there really was no live sports. And so I had to make my own breaks. I drove 4 hours to New York City and I'd stay with my family and I'd do some Yankees, some Mets, or Islanders, Devils, and I drive to Boston and I do 2 or 3 days in Boston and looped all these days together. And then I'd go home and then I'd start over a week or so doing the same thing. And that was tough, trying to make a career or a living where there was no work for me.
Yeah, that is really challenging for sure. I mean, also lucky that you're up in the East Coast region where things tend to be a bit closer, at least big metropolitan areas. But that's no joke. I want to ask about the ESPN story real quick. When she said, "Oh, give me a call in 5 years," do you think you needed those 5 years looking back on it?
Yes. To work at the level of ESPN or NBC or a big network, definitely. So it was like, it gave me, a kick in the butt. It said, this is what you need to do to get to that level. What are you going to do to get to that level? It was like my bear getting in the way. And I needed to, how am I going to get around that bear? I need to take smaller jobs. I need to learn. I need to talk to whoever I can talk to. I need to find a mentor or more than one mentor. And I need to get better at my craft.
Oh, so good. I think that's a really important point to make because I think in today's age of this instant, like ultra instant gratification, these super short videos and with TikTok and things like that, it's in a way has been conditioning so many of us to expect such great feedback and such great success, if you will, so quickly. And the reality is to be good at anything takes a long time. There's no way around the work. You have to put in the time. You have to put in the work. And like you said, you went in there guns blazing, right? Really, and they said, "Oh, no. You need to go get your chops up." And I love that's the reality of your journey, but also, do you have any insight or a couple tips for anyone that's in the camera world or the tech industry about building your chops? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, and that's a great question. Last year I started the broadcast sports course. It's a course to teach people like myself 20 something years ago how to get into the television, sports, and entertainment television business. And it starts out with a 2 day boot camp. We teach people how to talk to clients, how to talk to clients on the phone, how to follow up with clients, who the clients are. Your fellow freelancers are also clients because if they need to cancel a day of work because they get sick, it's easier for them to call another freelancer than call the client and say, hey, you can't show up today. We teach all that type of stuff. And then we teach a big part of being in this industry is being physically fit because it's a physical job. We teach
Yeah.
physical fitness and how to eat healthy because you'll have a longer career and maybe with staying, if you get injured, come back quicker because you're healthier. So we teach that. And then the second day is we bring in a lot of equipment, cameras, cables. We show everyone how to put the cameras together. We let them do it. And so the first time when they leave our 2 day boot camp, they will have seen a lot of the equipment that they'll see on the job site. And then we pair them up for six to 12 months with a mentor to get them involved in the industry. But then COVID hit. So the internship part of the program had to be put on hold. And hopefully we'll be able to bring that back, maybe hopefully this fall.
Oh, that's a really cool program. I think it's so needed in this
Because there's no
industry because
training ground. There's no training
no,
ground.
of course not. It's one of those jobs. I think there's so many jobs in this industry. Like I mentioned in our pre-interview chat, I've done some corporate production, working as a producer and things like that. That whole world, there's no course, no training on that. Everyone just finds their way to that via relationships, and it's a very interesting world. But it exists, and to have someone like you providing such a concrete roadmap, I think, is fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you know building industry relationships are the most important assets you need to create a long-lasting entertainment career? And don't take my word for it. Guest after guest here on the podcast have attributed some of their biggest career moments to their relationships. That is why you need to get yourself inside the You Booked It community. You'll learn what you need to do to get noticed and make sure your headshot stays in the callback pile so you can book the gig more consistently and create a successful career. Tap the link in the show notes or go to youbookeditpodcast.com/invite to get inside free today. Well, let's move on to a time that I like to call your spotlight moment. That one moment in time you realized, yes, I want to work in this entertainment industry. Or maybe it was, yes, this is what I need to be doing in the entertainment industry. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to know what I wanted to do super early on, like high school. I knew I wanted to play professional baseball. And I did everything possible in my childhood to get myself to that level. But I knew I needed backup. So in high school, I needed one class, an elective. And I went through all the courses. And the thing that jumped out at me was a TV production course. And and the description was shoot different types of scenarios with cameras and learn editing. And the biggest thing was a trip to NBC studios in New York at 30 Rock for a tour and to see a live show being taped. So I was like, how cool is that?
Yeah, very cool.
That can't be that bad. I took the class and halfway through the year, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to combine my love of baseball and sports and my new love and passion in TV into a career. Because I used to go to Yankee games, Met games, Rangers, Islanders, and I used to see the camera people there and think that was so cool. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do halfway through that course.
Oh, so good. And let's piggyback on that question real quick and talk about your number one booked it moment. Walk us through that day, what was going on in your life, and what about that moment makes it your favorite booked it moment?
Yeah, so my one booked it moment is I was doing a horse race for NBC, And it was like an outside package. So what that means is an outside company hires all of the crew, and they buy time on the network, and it airs on the network. But the network sends their production staff, their director, their producer, to take care of the production of the show.
Mm.
So on this one particular horse race at Belmont Park, I met NBC's top director at the time, who did their highest rated Super Bowl, who did their Olympics, their biggest Olympics, figure skating and track and field in the summer. And I knew who he was. And so I hustled so much. I went the extra mile. I got every shot that they wanted plus more. And my friend said, you should go give him your card afterwards. And so I went up to him, and before I can even offer my card to him, he said, wow, Howie, you did an awesome job today. He said, we're starting this new football league in February called the XFL. This is in 2000-ish.
Yeah.
And he said, we'd love to have you, be a part of the crew. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. He said, why don't you come to Notre Dame, because NBC does Notre Dame football. He said, you'll do some games with us. We'll see how your football skills are, and then we'll take it from there. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to shoot Notre Dame football. I went. I think I did 6 games that year. And as a freelancer, having a job that is multiple jobs, right? 6 football games, or the XFL, which was 12 football games, that's like the greatest thing in the world. And so that was like when I knew that I was making it.
Oh, that is really cool. And that the hard work paid off, and that making sure that you got that shot. Because, look, I think we oftentimes forget, in a way, we see what happens on the screen. It comes to us and we just kind of absorb it, right? But what it takes to actually get that shot. And if you don't have the cameraman getting the shot, how do you, it makes for a really bad experience.
Yeah. And, I always showed up. I wasn't the best camera operator, and I would ask questions if I didn't know what I was supposed to do. And I was fortunate on the XFL to be on the sideline where I met the WWE people, because if you remember, WWE and NBC owned half the XFL at the time. And so my work continued simultaneously for 20 years, I worked for NBC Sports and the World Wrestling Entertainment as a camera operator.
Wow, so cool. And in the beginning of this, in your bio, it said that you're an Emmy Award-winning camera operator. What's that story?
So we won an Emmy for our camera work at the Beijing Olympics for gymnastics.
Oh, beautiful. That must have been an incredible experience as well to go over there.
Yeah, Beijing was awesome. It was an awesome experience. And I've had the good fortune to travel the world and work, but and I've seen tons of countries, and I was in Beijing for almost a month. It was a great experience, and I was with the U.S. women when they won their gold medal, so that was great.
Very cool. Well, let's take a moment to talk about the present. What projects are you working on now? What are you looking forward to? And look, we're still amidst this global pandemic. How do you see the entertainment industry, and specifically your part of the entertainment industry, moving forward in the next couple of years?
Yeah, currently we just started our new company, Veridity Entertainment Services. Veridity it's a cool story. If you get really upset when things go bad, you're like in the state of quote red, right? And then if you get really excited when things go good, then you're in the state of blue. My personality is more even keeled, so that's the state of green. And the word veridity means in the state of being green. So we named our company Veridity Entertainment Services, and we do broadcast quality live streams for all different types of events. And we work with a small group of people, dedicated staff, and we produce broadcast quality live streams for our clients to produce their content globally. And we have a blast doing it.
Very cool. And I'm personally quite bullish on the live streaming continuing in the event space and things like this. What are your thoughts? Obviously, you have Veridity, so I can imagine you are the same, but how do you see live streaming playing out and continuing to stay around as we're able to go back to live events and go back to the pre-COVID normalcy?
Yeah, great question. I think it's only going to increase for a few reasons. One, if you're talking like corporate style events, right? So I still don't think if you're going to have an event with 500 people that would normally have showed up pre-COVID, there's
Hmm.
no way all 500 people are coming now. It's just not going to happen. So let's say you got 250 people to come. You can stream that event to thousands now, and you can charge for the people that are on site. You can charge for the people that are remote. And there are people that are remote will still get the same benefit as if they were there. They get more work done because they're not traveling. So those types of events, I think, will only get bigger. And let's take like sports, right? There's smaller boxing shows and smaller track and field events and other types of sporting events that don't have the money to afford a real TV production in terms of hiring a TV truck, a satellite truck, a full television crew.
Yeah.
But if we live stream it, we can bring in still professional cameras, but not what you would find on a TV truck, a smaller crew. We can have a lot of the crew remote, so that saves the travel or the bringing in of the crew. And there's more productions that will get done because it's cheaper to do them. They won't air on broadcast, but they'll air on the internet somewhere.
For sure. And everything is really this whole, I think the consumption of content, even with some of the biggest, companies out there and take the MLB, for instance, it really is this very niche streaming. You don't need to be everywhere. You just need to be where your people are. And I agree with you that I also think that, I guess what I was hearing is that you also think there might be kind of a hybrid of the two. You're going to have that live event, but you're also going to offer a streaming option for a multitude of reasons, like it increases revenue possibilities and attendance possibilities. And I think it's really good as well to also point out that I think a lot of times people don't realize the immense cost of doing live events is. Mm-hmm. And I think it's all about accessibility. I think that's amazing. Like what you said, a smaller company can get their content to their people without having to, look, it still costs a fair bit of money for sure, but without the barrier to entry is not so high.
Yeah, we've done some live streams recently with some pretty famous athletes. And what we do is we send our computer or camera kits out, which contain a high-end computer, a high-def camera, a microphone, a USB microphone, Ethernet cable. And if they want a tech, we hire a tech that comes in and sets it all up for them. And then we remotely log into the computer. We focus, we white balance, we zoom the camera, and then over the internet, we bring them into our production. And the person sits in front of the computer, our computer, and just literally talks to the camera. They see they see what's going out over the air on the computer screen, and it's a way to get big name people into productions that you would never get to fly to somewhere or to get them a part of the show.
Right, just for purely logistical time constraints that many of those people have. Wow.
And the cost factor. We're sending them a computer camera kit, and they don't have to leave their house.
Oh, that's amazing. I really like that. Very cool.
Yeah, we make it easy.
Yeah, so good. It is time to move on to one of my favorite sections in the interview. I call it the Grease Lightning Round. I am going to ask you a handful of questions. I want you to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, one after another. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
All right, first question. What was the one thing holding you back from committing to a career in the entertainment industry?
I have retired from being a camera person, and the one thing that kept me from doing that earlier was fear of not being able to make it as an entrepreneur.
Yes, for sure. And the second question, what is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Learning to say no.
Third question, what is something that is working for you right now? Or if you'd like to go pre-COVID, what was working for you before our industry went on pause?
Working hard, 110%, staying focused, having a list of what I need to do and when it needs to get done, and just staying focused.
Yes. Fourth question. What is your best resource? Whether that is a book, a movie, a YouTube video, maybe a podcast or piece of technology you found is helping your career right now.
Yeah, having a business coach and having a mentor, having someone keeping you accountable. A book, The Man Up by Beatrice Cooley, Empire podcast, and also YouTube videos on which gave me a lot of training in the live stream world. So a lot of different things.
Great. Fifth question. If you had to start your career from scratch, but you still had all the knowledge and experience you've collected from your career in this industry, what would you do or not do? Would you do anything differently, or would you keep it the same?
I operated a handheld camera almost 100% of the time. I would do less handheld camera because it definitely took a toll on my body.
And the last question. What is the golden nugget knowledge drop you've learned from your successful career in this industry you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Trust your gut. Go with your gut instinct because it'll never steer you wrong.
Oh, so good. And to wrap up this interview, Howie, it is time to give yourself a plug. Where can we find you? How do our listeners connect with you? And is there anything you want to promote?
Sure. You can reach me on my website, viridityentertainment.com. That's VIRIDITY entertainment.com. I'm on LinkedIn at Howie Zales, Instagram at Howie Zales. And yeah, for any new clients that need help with live streaming, we offer a 10% discount on your first production with us for the next, and that promotion is going on for the next 2 weeks.
Brilliant. And for everyone listening out there, I have put the links to everything Howie just said into the description of this episode so you can easily connect with him. And also be sure to share this podcast with your fellow entertainers, coaches, teachers, arts and entertainment educators, and anyone you know aspiring to create a career in this entertainment industry. You Booked It is the #1 resource of expertise on how to actually create a successful entertainment career. Case in point, the incredible journey that Howie has had through his entire career. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next guest. Howie, thank you so much for being here. It's been very enlightening and insightful having you on and chatting today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, be sure to smash that subscribe button. Also, be sure to join the You Booked It community. Inside, you can connect with your people, build industry relationships, unlock unlimited masterclasses, and access the tools and training you need to create sustainable career momentum. Get your invite link right now. Tap the link in the show notes or head over to youbookeditpodcast.com/invite, and we'll see you there.